Are you someone that struggles with acid reflux? A lot of people tend to believe that acid reflux comes from an excess of stomach acid in the body, but that's actually not the case. Join me this week as we take a look at why acid reflux happens and how you can be proactive instead of reactive to the symptoms that you're experiencing.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Irizarry. I'm an Eastern medicine practitioner who is passionate about women's health and helping women live their best lives. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your menstrual health, offering period solutions for a symptom-free life. Statements made in this program are for educational purposes only and not intended as a substitution for medical consultation or advice. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. This podcast is inclusive and welcomes all gender identities. The focus of the program is on biological function, and we will use the term women throughout, but it is referencing physiological and social challenges for biology, not identity. Come as you are, I am happy you're here and welcome all performances of identity. I hope you find something helpful in this show.
Welcome back to another episode of Reproductive Rebel. I absolutely love challenging the status quo or what we accept as normal, but really, in fact, are just things that are normalized in our culture. And this one actually doesn't have too much to do directly with the cycle, but it is something that I find comes up over and over again with my clients. And so I thought that it would be an interesting podcast episode to talk about. So let's talk about acid reflux. Oof, this is one that a lot of people struggle with. And this isn't one that people just struggle with when they're pregnant. They struggle with this often. And the number one thing that I hear from people is, I feel like I'm taking Tums all the time and it doesn't seem to be helping. So let's bust this myth wide open, shall we? Acid reflux does not happen because of excess stomach acid. Yeah, I'm pausing for emphasis there. Because that's usually the sound that I hear from my clients when I tell them that. Acid reflux actually happens as a result of too little stomach acid rather than too much. And so when we use antacids to help with that burning sensation, we're actually telling our body, hey, you've made too much of this, don't make any more. And it perpetuates a nasty cycle. So how the heck can acid reflux be from too little stomach acid when it feels like my chest and my throat are on fire? Well, let me explain. So according to Chinese medicine, stomach qi is supposed to go down. So energy, fluids, all of these things in your body have specific directions they're supposed to travel in. Some energies go up and some energies and fluids and such go down. Stomach is one of those places where the energy is supposed to go down. When you are having acid reflux, it's like driving the wrong way on the highway and you see all the red wrong way signs and you're still going in that same direction anyway and don't turn around. Chinese medicine has a phrase for this called rebellious stomach qi. And that's essentially what it's doing. It is being a rebel and is going opposite the flow of normal traffic. And that opposite of normal flow of traffic can feel really gross and disgusting. So we want to get it like on top of it and deal with the symptoms when they're happening. So we pop a Tums or some other antacid and we're like, oh, please bring relief. We're actually making the problem worse when we do things like this. And it is significantly better for you to be preventative rather than reactive when the symptoms occur. So, how are we preventative? Well, in Western culture, we do not do a really great job with fermented things that help improve the way that our stomach acid works and ensure that we have enough of it in order to be able to properly process our food. One of the biggest complaints in the West is gastrointestinal problems for a large, long list that I probably could do an entire episode on just that. But when we aren't properly feeding our gut biome and we aren't providing it with the right tools and bugs in order to be able to function properly, we have symptoms. And one of the most common symptoms that I hear my clients talking about is acid reflux. So, how can we prevent this? Well, something like apple cider vinegar can be your absolute best friend. Now, if you're going to just Bragg's apple cider vinegar this problem away, I would say please dilute it in water, like 4 to 6 ounces of water for a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, for example, because it will harm the enamel on your teeth if you do it that way. But it is a fabulous solution. If you were to consume 4 to 6 ounces of water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar 30 minutes to an hour before you eat, you'll have a very different experience with your meal. Why is that? Well, you're helping to prime your stomach. When you have weak stomach chi, it means that it's tired and it doesn't have all of the tools that it needs to do the job. So it's kind of like working an 8-hour day on 4 hours of broken sleep versus working an 8-hour day on 8 hours of solid sleep. You feel very different. You can do all of the tasks that are given to you. You have enough energy for them. Your brain is clear. You're functioning optimally. You can really put your best foot forward when you're able to get a good night's sleep, right? Your stomach is the same thing. I mean, it's really no different for any of the systems in your body. This is where we have a lot of period problems, is we overtax the resources that we have on board. And instead of replenishing them in key ways, we just continue to stress our system and overextend our system. And then we can't figure out why we're experiencing symptoms. This is what happens with acid reflux. Okay. The stomach does not have all of the tools it needs and the energy it needs to help consume the food that you're putting into it. So when you are having cold foods or iced foods and beverages, you are taxing your stomach chi. In the West, we love ice water. We love our frozen smoothies. These kinds of things wreak havoc on our stomach and its ability to process and digest food. When we provide room temperature or warmer things, our stomach goes, oh, I don't have to steal energy from other places in the body in order to function properly. Cool. I have all of the chi or the vital energy right here that I need in order to start this process. Awesome. And then it's able to do its job better. So, how you eat your food affects this acid equation, and what you're doing to help prepare the body to consume the food is also an important part of this equation. The cheap, easy way to do it is organic, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Okay. That is the easiest, cheapest way to do it. There are supplements out there that are like apple cider vinegar gummies and these types of things, but you have to be real careful with those because they need to have some sort of a catalyzing agent in them in order to make sure that you are getting all of the active properties that you need in order for it to work properly. So make sure that it is a supplement if you are doing it that way, that because, not everybody really digs the taste of apple cider vinegar, but that's actually part of the problem. We don't crave these kinds of flavors in our diet because our diet is devoid of them. So not only are we not getting enough of the thing that we need, but then when we go to try to do it, we don't like the aesthetic experience with it. And so we're reluctant to do it. And then we don't have the tools that we need, and it's a snowball, right?
I'm going to pause this incredible episode to share an opportunity for you to join me as a reproductive rebel. As you know, I'm a holistic women's health practitioner who practices with a focus in East Asian medicine. I truly am one of a kind in the way that I practice, and that is a part of what makes me a rebel. I am here to disrupt a healthcare model for women and provide natural and effective solutions for all phases in a woman's life. Do you feel called to make a difference in women's health? Whether you are already a practitioner working in this space, wishing to add to your toolkit, or you are just a passionate rebel with a calling to make a difference for others, as I was at the start of my career in this field, the Holistic Women's Health Practitioner Program is open for enrollment. I am looking for passionate, committed, and heart centered people who desire to make a difference in the women's health space and desire to make it a place where women feel seen and heard, where their needs and concerns aren't gaslit, but really taken seriously and met with compassion and education to help them reach their goals. Does this sound like you? If so, please check out the program link in the show notes and schedule a one-on-one talk with me or join a free information session. Or if you know that without a doubt this is where you want to go, enroll and get started today. Together, we will make a difference for the future of women's healthcare. I can't wait for you to join me.
I have never met anyone as charismatic and downright passionate about women's health as Adrienne Irizarry is. Not only is it just a delight to be in her presence as a friend, but as a student, her passion for her work, it comes through so prominently, and it helps ignite the excitement that lives inside of me as her student. We literally laugh, we cry, we share, we support. The knowledge is endless, and the infinite capacity of her being for this work and teaching and mentoring is just astounding. It's so beautiful. I can't think of a better instructor to be working with this topic. We are powerful. Women hold the most beautiful power within their beings. And Adrienne is the perfect example of she. She is the epitome of woman.
And now back to the show. So I'm cautionary around doing it supplement style only because there is a lot of money that is thrown away doing it that way when you can have an apple cider vinegar based dressing. You could have an apple cider vinegar based like basting on a food that you cook or something of that nature in order to be able to get those properties into your body. So I'm going to give you a visual for a second. Think about a campfire or a fireplace fire. When you put green wood in there, meaning that it hasn't been out drying and the term is called seasoned, what happens? Are you guys familiar with what happens? I've posted this visual actually on my social media a few times because I think it's a really important one. A lot of times I'll do it with campfires during the summertime because I feel like it's a really awesome, easy visual. But when you use green wood, you get a lot of smoke, very little, if any, flame, and the wood essentially stays in the fire pit. It doesn't get consumed properly. You really don't make much of a fire, and everybody's coughing and gagging because there's a whole bunch of smoke. That's what happens inside your stomach. The food goes in, and you get what is known as food stagnation. There's not enough energy and there's not enough tools in order to consume and really truly pull apart in the digestive process all the things that you've put in there. So, all the abdominal bloating, for people who are seeing abdominal bloating that is not connected to their menstrual cycle, there's a reason. Your body doesn't have the tools that it needs in order to break the food down properly. This is a symptom that results. So, all of that smoke is kind of like the gas and the remnants of the food that sit in your stomach and then start to ferment because they're not broken down properly. It creates gas, bloating, pressure. You feel like you're full hours afterwards when you shouldn't. This can be a really big problem. So, when you burn dry wood, seasoned wood, you get a nice hot fire, some smoke, but very little, and all of the wood is consumed very quickly. And then you have an empty fire pit. That's what's supposed to happen in your stomach. So, when we help the body to create stomach acid so that it can consume things properly, the chi doesn't get rebellious. It doesn't go in the wrong direction. It has all the tools it needs to function properly, all the energy it needs to function properly. And the acid up the throat situation, wrong way on the highway, begins to dissipate and disappear entirely. So I would encourage you the next time you reach for a bottle of antacids to really stop and think, have I been eating fermented foods that are going to provide my stomach with the proper fuel that it needs to consume the food that I'm putting into it? Am I eating a lot of cold or iced foods or beverages? And invite you to play with it and see how your stomach feels, how you're able to digest food, and if the bloating changes if you consume things that are room temperature or warmer. Straight out of the fridge, straight out of the ice box is really hard on our system because the body needs to pull energy from someplace else to warm things up to a point where then it can begin the consumption process. That takes a lot of energy. And we feel lethargic. Sometimes it affects the way that we feel when we wake up in the morning. We're just kind of slogging through our day. Whereas if you provide the body with the energy that it needs, it's able to do all of the processes that it needs to do better. Just like when you get a good night's sleep, you're able to tackle your day and not feel groggy, depleted, lethargic, and so on. This episode isn't going to be terribly long, but I really wanted to make this point because in Chinese medicine, there's a connection between the stomach function and the thyroid. We have a high number of women who find themselves on some sort of thyroid medication. Every client I work with that has a thyroid imbalance of some sort has a stomach challenge. It just is a thing. There is a connection. So if you are somebody who is currently struggling with thyroid issues, pay attention to your stomach and your digestion. If you are somebody that struggles with acid reflux, pay attention to your stomach and your digestion. So the easiest ways, and I know that I've mentioned this through the episode, but the easiest ways are consuming room temperature or warmer foods and beverages. That one sometimes does take some adjustment. If you look at Europe, they serve beer warm. They don't refrigerate it like we do here. That helps the way that the stomach digests. The thing number 2 is making sure that you're getting some of these acidic foods into your system, like fermented vegetables, This could be a kimchi. This could be a sauerkraut. I'm a huge fan of beet and carrot kraut. Oh my goodness. I put it as a side with things. I put it on top of things. It's delicious. Kombucha can help put good bugs in the system, but I would caution you because some kombuchas have a really high amount of sugar in them. Sugar is needed to activate the SCOBY in order to get the fermentation process to happen, but there are a lot that have added sugar because in our culture, we have a really high amount of sugar consumption, which affects our health on a whole bunch of levels. Maybe I should do a whole episode on that. So be strategic if you choose to use kombucha as a way to help populate the flora in your gut, but you're going to have a healthier gut flora and vaginal ecology. And, if you're infection prone, making sure that you get all the right good bugs in there is really important because your vaginal ecology is an extension of your gut health. So many aspects of your overall health are connected to the way that your stomach is functioning. And acid reflux is absolutely no exception. So making sure that you're getting these kinds of foods and consuming your foods in a certain way will help to reduce your acid situation. These are just kind of high arching notes. I would highly recommend you reach out to a practitioner. Myself as a holistic women's health practitioner and those who work in my practice, or another practitioner that works with gut health in order to help with this acid reflux issue. Tums do not solve the problem. They are a band-aid for an acute symptom, meaning that you are being reactive instead of proactive. And that reactivity over a prolonged period of time will actually make your symptoms worse. And then your current solution won't work in terms of symptom relief. So I highly encourage you to take a look at what you're eating, how you're eating it, what you're getting to support your digestion. If apple cider vinegar isn't your bag, do something like a digestive bitter. There's lots of organic digestive bitter options out there on the market that are really great. Take a few drops with you before you eat things, and it helps to prime your stomach so that it can accept what it is that you're going to put in there. The other thing to keep in mind as well is what it is that you're putting in for the source. Make sure that it's clean and organic. Okay, so research what it is that you're using to make sure that you're getting the optimal results.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Reproductive Rebel. Reproductive Rebel is recorded by certified peri-steam hydrotherapist and acutonics practitioner, herbalist, and Chinese nutritional therapist Adrienne Irizarry of Moon Essence LLC. If you are interested in setting up an appointment for one-on-one support, ordering from our store, or checking out our course offerings, visit our website at moonessence.life. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and get insider information on upcoming events and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us at Moon Essence Me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your voices make this program possible. Thank you all for your continued support.